Hi everyone, my name is Cody Lawhorn. I am one of the producers and the head writer on Inklings. This is Inklings behind the scenes with another special writer's room takeovers. Today we are continuing on with writing episode 1 of season 0. And in this episode, we've been introduced to Poe, who is the first bug in the library, and we are we're going through and we are doing our first pass on the first draft. I gave an analogy last week, and I gave an analogy last week, and I didn't complete that analogy very well. I used the analogy, to back up, I talked about how when you're working on a writing project with someone else, sometimes someone else's idea can seem like it doesn't go with your idea at all. And the analogy that I used was, let's say you're making carrot cake and your writing partner gives you an ingredient that's like cayenne pepper. And no matter what happens, you have to incorporate cayenne pepper into whatever dessert you're making. So I think it's important that you not hold on too tightly to the idea of making that carrot cake. And you need to look at the cayenne pepper, which is the ingredient, the idea that your writing partner really, really, really wants to use. And you need to reevaluate what it is you're making. And yeah, cayenne pepper probably does not go with carrot cake very well. But cayenne pepper could very well go with some type of dark chocolate dessert. So it's important to not get too balled up and to not get too hung up on trying to have your original vision for whatever it is you're writing, and to try to go with the flow a little bit more. That being said, today we're going to do a little bit of writing. As you can see, we're plugging in a little bit of stuff here and there. But the big part is to realize that this is still a rough draft. All right. Nothing has to be perfect when it hits the page. I make a couple errors here. I delete a couple things. I add a couple things. But the important part is to acknowledge that the first draft of anything you write, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great at all. And it's okay, sometimes when I write, I don't write very much at all because I get what Jesse likes to call paralysis of analysis, where I'm too in my head, I'm too focused on wanting it to be perfect, and I end up going nowhere. That being said, you need to give yourself permission to write badly. You need to just get it out there. It's hard to edit a blank page. And I know it's a struggle. I know it's a struggle to get the words on the page, but you got to do it. You got to push through. I will sometimes, if I feel like I get hung up on a scene, I will jump around. If I, like Poe, for example, here he sees that someone has tracked water in after he's looked through the outside window, and then he gets ready to go confront whoever that is, but then he realizes that he has to actually confront and talk to someone. And then Poe decides he doesn't want to do that. I'm still trying to work out how I want to transition that. So then it goes to Poe turning on the TV because the weather's so bad outside that Poe just wants to find something to do, find something to watch. I'm still trying to work out how to fix that transition. And so it's okay. I had to give myself permission to kind of abruptly jump from him complaining about whoever tracked in the water from outside to him trying to find something to watch on TV. And I'm going to jump around even a little bit more here, where we are now in the episode of Cowboy Dinosaur, the TV show that Poe is watching. And the episode that Cowboy and Dinosaur are going through is wrangling up some grub. Now, based on a previous conversation I had with Jesse, Jesse asked if our bugs went to a restaurant, what type of food would they order to eat? And I thought Poe might order a steak of some kind. And Jesse said that he thought that Kafka would order spaghetti because it's messy and it gets everywhere, and that just kind of embodies who Kafka is. He's definitely very loud. He's in your face. He's very messy. So, after I conferred with Jesse about what this episode of Cowboy Dinosaur is going to be about, Jesse said he wanted two things. He said he wanted the episode that Poe to start watching was going to be wrangling up some grub, and he said that the food that Cowboy and Dinosaur ultimately are going to eat is spaghetti. Now there's a couple reasons for that. That's Jesse's little nod to spaghetti Western films. And for those of you who may not know, a lot of the older Westerns, all the older Western films that were made here in America a long time ago actually had Italian directors. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing a little bit from the script. Now, going back to the spaghetti, I have decided, as the writer of this show, that because Jesse has wanted this in this particular food, spaghetti, featured in the Cowboy Dinosaur episode, and it's Kafka's favorite food, I've decided that Poe hates spaghetti. And we're going to make it very obvious to all of you who watch the show, and as we continue to write, Poe hates spaghetti with fiery passion. And eventually one day we may find out why Poe hates spaghetti so much. And I promise you that when that day comes, and when we make that discovery, it's going to be quite tragic for Poe, and the reason why he hates spaghetti. Now, that being said, I've had some difficulties writing today. I outlined pretty well, but then when it came time to actually sit down to write, I'm struggling. I'm struggling really hard. And it may not look like it. It may look like, oh, hey, I'm down to this, almost the second page. But I know that's not very far at all. When Take into account, though, these episodes are 4 to 6 pages long, so I'm almost halfway. It's important to not get caught up in your page count or your word count. You just have to get the words on the page. I can't stress that enough. And I bring that up because I'm probably the biggest offender of not getting words on the page because of my paralysis of analysis. I'm just kind of scrolling around here trying to figure out what to write next. And one of the things I do when I write, which you'll see here, is I will actually, if I'm having trouble with something towards the beginning or the middle, I'll jump closer towards the end or another plot point or another point in the story that I do know what's going to happen. And I'll just put something down. You need to give yourself permission as the writer to jump around. Sometimes certain conversations and scenes will flow. Sometimes they won't. That's okay. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall here. We're going to see what sticks. So as I reread my work here, I'm thinking about Cowboy Dinosaur and to kind of show their world a little bit. Again, I'm not going to get too carried away because this is Inklings. It's not Cowboy Dinosaur. But it's a chance and an opportunity for Jesse and I to show all of you a little bit of this world, which is another intellectual property that we kind of came up with together. And it's kind of fun to dabble and dip our toes in these waters to show all of you what this other IP is like. What else do I have to say about this episode? I would say that the biggest takeaway from today's episode is to not be too hard on yourself. I really beat myself up yesterday and today about trying to hit record and to type out, all 4 or 5 more pages of this thing and make it look really impressive and make it look easy. But I had a conversation with someone I really care about tonight, and they said, you just have to write and get it out there. It's not going to be perfect. You just have to get something on the page. And I know this. I've always known this. And sometimes it's just nice to have a little reminder every now and then. I am very excited for us to finish this episode of Inklings. This first episode of season 0. The episodes where it's not completely my idea, sometimes I do struggle, and I struggle more than I should. But it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. The next episode, we're going to continue our writing with Cowboy Dinosaur here. And until next time, I hope all of you have a wonderful day. Again, try not to be too hard on yourselves. When you pour your heart into something and it's a big dream, a big task, a big goal, you need to you need to forgive yourself on days when either you're just not feeling it, or maybe you're not performing or creating as much as you would have wanted to. And that's okay. That's all a part of the artistic process. All right, well, I've rambled on enough, and I just want to thank all of you again so very much for following Jesse and I along on this journey. We're making a meal out of every bite, as Jesse likes to say. Thank you all so very much for joining us on another episode of Inklings Behind the Scenes, another special edition of the Writer's Room Takeover. And remember, reading a good book is a gift to yourself. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.